Imagine a giant slumbering for years, silent, imposing. Then it stirs. This is Mount Merapi, one of Indonesia's most active volcanoes. It's a mountain with a fiery heart, and recently that heart roared back to life. Merapi has erupted before, but this time was different, more violent, more unpredictable. The ground shook, and a colossal column of ash shot into the sky, a terrifying spectacle for miles around. This wasn't just a show of nature's power, it was a disaster unfolding. Villages nestled on Merapi's slopes faced the mountain's wrath. The air grew thick with ash, making it hard to breathe. Panic surged through the communities as the mountain unleashed its fury. This is the story of that eruption, the people it impacted, and the long road to recovery that lies ahead. It's a story of both the awesome power of nature and the resilience of the human spirit. High above, the ash cloud boiled, darker than any storm cloud. It spread out, blotting out the sun and casting an eerie gray light on the landscape below. Then, the ash began to fall, a suffocating blanket covering everything. But the ash wasn't the only threat. Glowing red rivers of molten rock known as lava flowed down Merapi's slopes, incinerating everything in their path. Trees turned to torches, and homes were swallowed by the relentless, fiery tide. The air, thick with the smell of sulfur, crackled with static. The ground trembled with each rumble from the volcano's depths. It was a scene of utter devastation, a nightmare brought to life. Fear gripped the hearts of those living in Merapi's shadow. They knew the mountain's temper, but this eruption was different, more ferocious than they could have imagined. Indonesia sits on what geologists call the Ring of Fire, a zone of intense volcanic and earthquake activity. It's a place where the Earth's tectonic plates collide, creating immense pressure beneath the surface. Mount Merapi is a product of this tectonic clash. Deep underground, molten rock known as magma rises from the Earth's mantle. This magma builds up in a chamber beneath the volcano. Over time, the pressure becomes too great, and the volcano erupts, releasing the pent-up energy in a fiery outburst. Scientists monitoring Merapi had detected an increase in seismic activity in the weeks leading up to the eruption. Small earthquakes, ground deformation, and gas emissions all pointed towards a potential eruption. However, predicting the exact timing and magnitude of a volcanic eruption is still a significant challenge. Volcanoes are complex and often unpredictable systems. While scientists can identify warning signs, they can't say for sure when the mountain will blow. The eruption of Mount Merapi wasn't just a geological event. It was a human tragedy. Thousands of people were forced to flee their homes, leaving behind their possessions, their livelihoods, and in some cases, their loved ones. Among them was a young farmer named Budi, who had lived his entire life on the slopes of Merapi. He watched in horror as the mountain he had always known turned against him, spewing fire and ash. With his family in tow, he joined the desperate exodus from the danger zone. Another survivor, an elderly woman named Ibu Sri, recalled the terror of that day. "It was like the end of the world," she said, her voice trembling. "The ground shook, and the sky turned black. We lost everything." These are just two stories among thousands. The eruption displaced families, separated loved ones, and left a trail of trauma and loss in its wake. The human cost of this disaster is immeasurable. Section 5. Racing Against Time. As the scale of the disaster became clear, a desperate race against time began. Indonesian authorities mobilized emergency response teams who rushed to evacuate communities still in harm's way. Helicopters buzzed overhead, airlifting the injured and those stranded by the eruption. Rescue workers, their faces covered in ash, searched for survivors amidst the rubble and debris. Time was of the essence, as every passing moment brought new dangers. Medical teams worked tirelessly to treat the injured, many suffering from burns, respiratory problems, and trauma. Makeshift hospitals and evacuation centers were set up to provide shelter and care for the displaced. The response was a testament to the courage and compassion of those who put their lives on the line to help others. But the challenges were immense, and the needs were overwhelming. Section 6. Scars on the Land. In the aftermath of the eruption, a thick layer of ash blanketed the landscape, transforming once fertile fields into barren wastelands. Rivers ran gray with volcanic mud, and the air remained thick with the acrid smell of sulfur. The eruption had reshaped the very geography of the region. Villages that once stood vibrant and alive were now buried under meters of ash. There remains a haunting reminder of the disaster. The environmental impact of the eruption was profound. The ash, while fertile in the long term, posed immediate risks to crops and livestock. Water sources were contaminated, and the air quality remained a serious concern, particularly for the young and elderly. The eruption had left its mark not only on the land but also on the souls of those who witnessed its fury. The scars of this disaster would run deep, both physically and emotionally. Section 7. Rebuilding Lives, Rethinking Risk. The road to recovery after a volcanic eruption is long and arduous. Rebuilding homes, restoring livelihoods, and healing emotional wounds take time, resources, and an unwavering spirit. For the people of Merapi, the challenge was immense. They faced the daunting task of piecing their lives back together amidst the devastation, knowing that the mountain that had brought them both life and destruction still loomed large. The Indonesian government, with support from international aid organizations, launched a massive relief effort. Food, water, shelter, and medical supplies flowed into the affected region, providing a lifeline to those who had lost everything. But beyond the immediate relief, there was a growing recognition of the need to rethink disaster preparedness and risk reduction. The eruption had exposed vulnerabilities in early warning systems, infrastructure, and community resilience. Section 8. A world away, yet connected. The eruption of Mount Merapi may have happened on a small island in Southeast Asia, but its impact was felt far beyond Indonesia's borders. It served as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our world and the shared vulnerability to natural disasters. In an age of globalization and instant communication, news of the eruption spread rapidly across the globe. Images of the devastation, the human suffering, and the heroic efforts of rescue workers dominated news cycles and social media feeds. The international community responded with an outpouring of support. Governments, aid organizations, and individuals from all corners of the world donated generously to the relief effort, demonstrating the power of human compassion in times of crisis. The eruption also highlighted the importance of international cooperation in disaster response and preparedness. Sharing knowledge, expertise, and resources is crucial to building more resilient communities and mitigating the impact of future disasters. Section 9. Beyond the Ashes. The eruption of Mount Merapi cast a long shadow, but it also revealed the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. Amidst the loss and devastation, there were countless stories of courage, compassion, and an unwavering determination to rebuild. In the months and years following the eruption, communities slowly began to recover. Homes were rebuilt, fields were replanted, and life gradually returned to a semblance of normalcy, albeit with a profound respect for the power of nature. The eruption served as a catalyst for innovation and adaptation. New farming techniques were adopted to cope with the ash-covered land, and early warning systems were strengthened to provide better protection for those living in the volcano's shadow. The experience also fostered a sense of community and shared purpose. People came together to support one another, rebuilding not just their homes and livelihoods, but also the social fabric that had been torn apart by the disaster. Section 10. Stay curious, stay informed. The story of Mount Merapi is a powerful reminder of the awe-inspiring power of nature and the importance of respecting its forces. It's a story of loss and devastation, but also of resilience, compassion, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. As we've explored the events surrounding this eruption, we've delved into the science behind volcanoes, the human cost of natural disasters, and the importance of global cooperation in responding to these challenges. But our journey of discovery doesn't end here. I encourage you to stay curious, stay informed, and continue to learn about the world around us. Explore the fascinating realm of volcanoes, learn about the latest advances in disaster preparedness and response, and discover the many ways you can make a difference in the face of global challenges. From the depths of the ocean to the peaks of the highest mountains, our planet is full of wonder and awe. Let's explore it together, with open minds and a shared commitment to preserving its beauty and protecting its inhabitants.